Hey everybody, and welcome back to beautiful, sunny, clear skies.
Yeah.
New Orleans.
There are no hurricanes here. Not today.
No hurricanes here. I'm Joey Pasco.
I'm Adrian Sullivan.
And we're coming to you guys live from New Orleans.
That's right.
Mentioned. The StarCityGames.com Open Series Legacy is actually going on right now as we speak. And,
my favorite format?
Yeah, it's my favorite
My favorite
format.
constructed format.
I have to say, and I've said it before, I think Legacy is usually my favorite format, but when Standard is really exciting, when there's a new set, when there's post-rotation, usually Standard becomes
Is it because there's so many
exciting.
people that are pumped about Standard when it's fresh and new? And
It's probably something like that.
Yeah.
Like eventually the Standard format starts to, I wouldn't say it gets stale, but it settles. It's less fresh. Yeah, it settles. You start seeing a lot of things. But Legacy, I feel like is just a consistently deep format that
always so dynamic too.
Yeah, it's always dynamic. It's maybe never as completely as exciting as Standard can be post rotation. But what I'm trying to say is Standard's high point is higher than Legacy, but it's not as often. And Legacy has a more consistent
Interesting.
thing. This is for me.
Because obviously that's for you. For me, I guess my feeling on Legacy is that it's always up there. And at Legacy's low points, it dips down into the world where everyone else lives in their formats, whether it's Standard or whatever. So what we're going to talk about today, well, Return to Ravnica. It's fresh, it's new.
Yeah.
It's one of those high point moments in Standard.
Absolutely.
But in Legacy is not untouched by Return to Ravnica.
Yeah.
We've got a couple of deck lists here, just 3 deck lists. We're not going to go into them card by card, no. What we're going to do is we're going to talk about a couple of new cards and how they're influencing kind of already established strategies and archetypes.
Yeah, and actually even bringing back some that we haven't seen. It's not necessarily haven't seen in a while, but haven't seen as much.
Yeah, absolutely.
And the first card I think that we talk about on this list, Abrupt Decay.
Yeah, now Abrupt Decay I think is the card that is maybe the go-to card when you imagine what would come from Return to Ravnica and go into Legacy. And a part of it is, you know, I'm not sure about you, but have you played Croson Grip in your sideboard?
I certainly have.
I have too. Well, all of you people that can afford to spend a little bit more color, green-black is maybe the new green too.
Sure, yeah, and I think, and you know, that shouldn't be too much of a shock. I think the idea of an uncountable instant speed removal spell that hits not just creatures, but any permanent that costs 3 or less, you know, super smother. No surprise there. And I think a lot of people hailed it as like such a huge thing for Legacy. I don't know if it's as huge as people thought.
I actually
but
think it is really huge.
Doing some things.
Now,
I mean, go ahead.
Yeah, like take Rug Delver. Now, Rug Delver here this weekend is still the most popular deck. It's just over 10% of the field this weekend. Well, it had been even more popular before.
Yeah.
We had seen such a groundswell of Rug Delver. We were hitting the 20% mark. And in Legacy, if you hit the 20% mark on popularity with a deck archetype, usually that means one thing, that deck is just dominating whatever's going on. And for it to go back down to the 10% mark, I think it's about this. I think it's about Tarmogoyf's dying. Because if you're an aggro control deck, like say Rug Delver or Merfolk. Now Rug Delver has got a little bit more of a hefty punch when it punches, but it also puts it all into these little small packages.
Yeah.
You don't get to be an aggro control deck if your opponent goes kill your stuff and it happens.
Yeah.
You get to be an aggro control deck when your opponent goes kill your stuff and you're like, you just wasted your time, buddy.
Right.
Never mind, it's not going to happen.
Right. So yeah, I think that's a good point. I think the addition of Abrupt Decay to the format has changed people's deck decisions, and I think what it has done is brought about, I think some people that maybe were playing Rug Delver decided, you know what, maybe this is a reason to go to Bug Delver, or even further, cut the Delvers, just go Bug Control. Bug Control kind of, it shows up in Legacy from time to time.
Yeah, it's the natural inheritor of a card like Abrupt Decay.
Right.
You know, like, we see Adam Kai, who is a name that you might be familiar with if you've been listening to the Star City Games stuff and watching us here.
Yep.
He is playing Bug Control, like you're talking about.
Yeah.
And the only main deck card that he has that is from Return to Ravnica, Abrupt Decay.
All right, 3 copies.
And
3 copies main, none in the board.
None on the board.
Interestingly, 1 Croson Grip.
Yeah. Now, why the Croson Grip, you might ask?
You cannot respond.
Yeah,
to
well,
the,
split stacking is still real.
Right.
Now, obviously, you can't Croson Grip a creature, and you can Abrupt Decay a creature.
Sure.
But the other thing that Abrupt Decay got heralded for was being able to kill counterbalances.
Right.
Well, a top is still a card worth killing.
Right.
And Croson Grip is very good at killing Sensei's Divining Top.
Yeah, so he goes with that just in the board. But otherwise, you know, it's bug control, and it's kind of, we've seen iterations of it that were more about resource denial with even cards like Sinkhole, a ton of Wasteland, Hymn to Turok, things like that.
Once you go towards that direction, becoming a Team America style deck rather than that kind of latter day, you know, deck that we've seen in the hands of Todd Anderson and Jerry Thompson more recently. But, you know, these decks that are the more controlling decks, they don't mess around with things like Tomb Stalkers or their own Tarmogoyfs. Sometimes they board them. This Adam Kai's deck has 3 Tarmogoyfs in his board. I've certainly done that in the past. Currently I'm doing it. But if we go out of the Golgari realm, and let's shift then into the realm of the Azorius.
I like it.
Yeah, what is the one main deck card that we see in this? The classic, and not classic, the Redux and an old enchantment Oblivion Ring.
Yeah.
Now with a little bit of blue.
Sphere.
Yeah.
Detention Sphere, the Super Maelstrom Pulse, or the whatever Super Oblivion Ring, and kind of
it's a kind of a cross.
It's basically when Pulse meets O-Ring, you get Detention Sphere.
Yeah. Now. It's awesome. I mean, what has it been doing this weekend? It's been being an Oblivion Ring, which is just fine, but also it just takes out so many possible things. Like, oh no, says the control player before, my opponent just made, how many goblins?
76.
76 goblins.
Sure.
A Detention Sphere takes care of that.
Yeah.
Now, at the same time, it's still an O-Ring, and you can take care of any individual thing, and if you're lucky, you can get 2 of whatever, you know, 2.
Right, exactly. Even a 2-for-1 is great. And O-Ring has seen plenty of legacy play.
Absolutely.
It's not a staple by any means, but it has seen a lot of play because it's a catch-all, right?
Absolutely.
3 mana catch-all for the control decks, you know. They so Oblivion Ring is a card that has seen a lot of play, but then you have Detention Sphere, and most of those decks that were playing Oblivion Ring were blue-white, so they're able to take advantage of that.
I actually can't think of a deck that was running Oblivion Ring that wasn't blue-white, other than a couple of very kind of marginal prison decks that used Enlightened Tutor to get their one Oblivion Ring as their catch-all answer to whatever.
Sure.
And that's just kind of that's even more marginal. Now, the other thing about a card like Detention Sphere, it's blue. And blue means Force of Will.
Yeah.
So it has that added bonus as well. Another thing that we see in this version, this is Chihua Yim's deck, which I believe is something that we might be seeing this weekend. I think he's doing pretty well in the tournament, last I checked. Is the one Supreme Verdict.
Yeah, so another blue-white card, blue-white version of a typically white card. You take Wrath of God or Day of Judgment, however you want to look at it. More Day of Judgment than Wrath of God. Change one of the white manas to blue, and now it's uncounterable, and that matters a lot more in Legacy than it does in Standard.
Yeah, again, we go to the question of what do you want to do if you're an aggro control deck? You want to put down the fast clock, and then you want to protect it with counter magic, and it doesn't work using discard for that kind of protection, because what you want to do is have them spend their whole turn up, and then have them be like, nope, that didn't work.
Right.
You can't do that to Supreme Verdict.
No, not at all.
Yeah, you just have to be like, well, I guess you got me. That's too bad. And one of the things we can remember, a long time ago, in I want to say 2010, the U.S. Nationals.
It's not that long ago.
It's a couple of years.
Okay.
In Standard, I believe Charles Gindy won that event. And the thing about that event is that was the event where there were 32 volcanic fallouts in the top 8 of that tournament. The top 8, every deck in the top 8 had 4 volcanic fallouts. But why? Well, at the time, the enemy was a slower deck, fairies.
Yeah.
And what would you do with fairies? Well, you'd, slowly build up stuff, and you'd say, like, not that.
Yeah.
Not that one thing that messes with me. And Volcanic Fallout, the sheer fact that it was uncounterable, totally destroyed fairies.
Right.
And made it so that was the thing to do.
And that would have been Nationals 2009.
2009? Thank you very much. And, the thing about that kind of effect is huge. So it's not surprising to me that a format that doesn't usually see Wrath of God, it does have Supreme Verdict.
Right, that uncounterability.
The main or the sideboard of some of these blue-white decks.
Right, and again, can be removed by
Force of Will,
which is huge. So another deck that we actually just got word about.
This is awesome.
This is awesome.
My favorite color.
One
of my favorite colors.
Color combination, apparently.
Right now, my favorite color combination from Return to Ravnica. I know that at the pre-release, every pre-release I did, this was the guild I chose.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Is it?
Yeah.
Is it?
Is it?
Really?
It is.
Is it really?
It is.
All right. Is it? So what is it card did we see pop up in a in a deck, you know, kind of an old standby deck. Not
Let's
even
pause
that much
for a
of
second so you at home can try to think. What is it card is in this Legacy deck that we're about to go to?
What is it?
What?
Is it?
I don't know. What is it?
It is
Epic Experiments.
We're having a little too much fun with the is it puns here, but Epic Experiment. Now, what deck would Epic Experiment go into? It seems like a combo-ish card. So
the tide is high, and I'm going off.
Go for it.
There we go. Let's see what happens next.
High Tide with Epic Experiment.
Wow.
Now we actually had just got this list, and I believe we're gonna try to get a deck tech.
Yeah.
Because, you know, we'd like to have this broken down for you guys because it's a very interesting
I agree.
idea.
I think it's totally interesting. Now, one of the things besides land, the only thing in here that the Epic Experiment can't hit, 3 Candelabra of Tawnos. Now, Candelabra, that's a one takes a little bit of scratch to get in your pocket.
Sure does.
But it's just really cool to me to see Epic Experiment being played in Legacy.
Yeah, and I think that the interesting thing about this is, you know, going down the list, you see Epic Experiment, and then you just see a bunch of High Tide staples. It's really like High Tide, and he says, I'll just splash red, play Epic Experiment, and you know, very minor changes to the numbers, and he can just go off that way. Yeah. So we'll bring you guys a deck tech on that, hopefully very shortly, with Ruben Bressler in the sideboard. I'm
sad to say that we don't really see much in the way of Selesnya yet.
No, not yet.
It could be that maybe someday we'll have some Selesnya that's making some appearance in Legacy. You know, we've got most of the guilds represented here. Rakdos, we have seen one card that's been showing up. A couple of decks have been sideboarding some Slaughter games.
Oh, yeah. Again, the uncounterability mattering.
This is a real thing. So. This is a real thing. So if you are looking to get some of your awesome staples, think about that uncounterable and just realize I actually literally picked up 4 Abrupt Decay today, and I was slinging out there when we were waiting between rounds. It really did kill a lot of Tarmogoyfs. Yeah. And I accidentally tried to kill a Goblin ringleader, and that didn't work.
No, it doesn't.
Yeah. Oh well.
But so that about wraps it up for our Return to Ravnica Impact on Legacy segment. I'm Joey Pasco.
I'm Adrian Sullivan, and we'll see you soon.
Yeah, from StarCityGames.com in New Orleans.
New Orleans.